So, Judge, it's determined to be a homicide, and there's only one person of interest, right? Is that basically it?
Yeah, he's a person of interest. They're not calling him a suspect. I suspect there are reasons they're not calling him a suspect.
Why?
Well,
Why would
there are
that be?
certain things, certain legal obligations that kick in once you're a suspect, once you're labeled a suspect. And I think the police are not under any kind of requirement that they call him a suspect now. Here's the issue in this case. If the manner of death is a homicide, we don't know the cause of death. Was she hit with blunt force trauma? Was there a strangulation? I'm kind of inclined to think there was something that was, very physical, because they were physical. But my biggest concern is something that I said last week, and that is that the cops in Utah did not make an arrest. And the dispatcher said that there was a caller saying that he was hitting her. In addition to that, we've got another witness who says he was hitting her. And I pulled up the Utah statute, which is like most statutes across the country. And I know this because I've been doing domestic violence prosecutions since 1978, okay? There is something called mandatory arrest. The cops are mandated to determine who the primary aggressor is. Not the last person to hit, but who's a primary aggressor. Okay. We know from the scene last week that he was holding her face, and the police say, oh, he was holding her face to stop her from hitting him, to stop him from hitting her. He wasn't letting her in the car. She was chasing the car. He had her phone. He wouldn't give her the phone. We're talking jealousy, control, all the indicia of domestic violence, and they tell them to separate, and they talk about mental health. No, this is domestic violence. You make an arrest, you decide who's the aggressor, and under Utah law, you arrest one of them. And if that were the case, this would not be happening.
Wow.
What do you think, Carallo?
Well, I think a lot of things. I think the police work certainly deserves scrutiny, harsh scrutiny, in light of what we know about what they did and did not do. A couple of other points, though. Men think they're so slick. They think that, it never happened before. They can put one over on the authorities. They can, make the team, I don't know what happened to her. My goodness, what happened? The man always did it. I mean, that's my presumption. My working presumption is the guy did it. Start your investigation right there. The other thing is social media is a lie. When you see social media, Instagram, all these other things the kids are into, everybody's skinny, everybody's beautiful, everybody's in love, everybody's dancing and skipping, and you envy them, and you never envy anybody. Everyone's got situations in their life.
For sure.
Live your life. Don't look at these pretty people and say, I want to be like them.
He was hardly pretty, though. John?
So, listen, I agree with the judge. Law enforcement left something to be desired in how they handled this case. But I'll just tell you, as a former prosecutor, we also had a mandatory arrest statute in Wisconsin. But oftentimes the cops, I don't want to defend them, but they come across these situations all the time. And women oftentimes will recant. So they look at the seriousness of what the altercation was. I'm just telling you the perspective of law enforcement. How serious was the altercation, and they don't make the arrest. That's what happens. But hold on one second. But I want to look at the facts here. I mean, we all have the right suspect, I think, Brian Landry. But there's this consciousness of guilt. What did he do after the crime, right? So he flees the scene. He goes back to Florida without his fiancée, doesn't tell anybody where she is, doesn't talk to the parents, doesn't talk to the cops, and lo and behold, he vacates his parents' house, and he can't be found. Everything he's done shows a consciousness of guilt that he was the one who caused the homicide.
But to your point, Judge, the aggressor is the one who should be locked up. Instead of just separating them for the night, he should have been arrested.
Because, and then her parents would have known. Then her parents would have known, and there would be a different situation. Now, I started the first domestic violence unit in the nation in 1978. Okay, it was a Department of Justice. It was a pilot program.
I was 7
okay,
then.
You were 7 then. Okay, well I'm old. Okay, so here's the thing. We know that if the police can't make an arrest and you let them go on their merry way, they end up dead or seriously injured, because domestic violence increases in intensity, frequency, and severity, and the guy thinks he's got it all over everybody as time goes on.
But you also know,
this,
Judge,
I know.
But what will happen is the woman will all of a sudden say, no, I was the guilty party. I was the aggressor.
Wait a minute.
How do the cops figure that out? That's what happened in this case, too.
That wasn't the case. If she has the right support, if she has a support system where she's got shelter and she's got opportunities to defend herself, then cops don't say, hey,
Judge,
you know, she liked it, let her have
Had
it.
the
Did she
arrest been
call
made,
her
she
mom?
could still be alive today. Had law enforcement done what they were supposed to, she would probably still be alive. You're right.
That's right.
Did she call her mom? What did the parents know? What did the guy's parents know? When he went home, did he speak to his parents?
Oh,
if your
that's the
kid,
question.
here's the question, everybody. Your son is suspected of something. Did he talk to his parents? Would you, if you were a parent, then call the authorities? What would you do?
I think there's a question of whether he ever actually went to Florida.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So and you have this
they
crazy
searched the
situation. Oh, go ahead.
Do you think the parents could be charged?
Sure. I mean, I'm not a lawyer.
you?
No, but
If they helped him escape, if they created a detour and said, hey,
Conspiracy?
he went this way, but he
aiding
went
and
to
abetting?
Mexico.
They're not talking to the authorities.
But how did his vehicle get there then? Because the white van got back
Well,
to Florida
that's a
to
great
the house,
question.
right?
How
So
did it get
he
there?
didn't go back
And
to
remember,
Florida.
the sister goes on Good Morning America last week, and she says, I haven't been able to talk to him. I haven't seen him, and I haven't been able to talk to him. But she lives right there. But she can't go in the house and see her brother?
And she
I mean, I don't think he was ever there.
She used a very interesting word. She said, you know, there must have been a misunderstanding. And to me, I just kind of spun around a few times and I said, she knows that something happened.
Right.
She didn't make that up.
Well, I just hope that he had the good taste to take his own life.
See, I would
Well, I
disagree.
think the family deserves justice and that he
Yeah.
should be held.
Yeah, suicide's a cowardly way out. I'd stand for the crime.
And
All
if
right.
you hit a woman, you're a coward.